Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV, and we're back. Finally, we're back for a preview for the Brighton game this weekend. Brighton versus Arsenal at the Amex Stadium. I've got together BHA with us. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Obviously, people know I'm still in hospital. I'll give a quick update to that. I should hopefully be out Monday or some point around there. I'm not putting anything on these. This lot have a great thing to surprise people, so that's what they're estimating. So that's where I'm putting my bets. So somewhere around there. So hopefully after the weekend, but and then we can get back to a full schedule. But at the minute, it's just making sure we just get at least the Arsenal and the F1 previews and stuff done. So Brighton versus Arsenal. I mean, Brighton having an awesome start to the season at the minute. Give it from your perspective. Have you seen the start of the season from a Brighton perspective?
Yeah, as you said, superb, really. You know, when you look at the games that we played so far, I think a lot of people will, on paper, say that they were easier games. But last season, those were the games that we weren't getting points in. Objectively, we weren't. If you look at it, the games we've played so far this season, we're on 13 points. Last season, we took 5 from the same fixtures. So huge improvement. And that's really been what it's all been about, really, from last season. You know, all the XG stuff and, you know, all the like false positives and if Brighton could just score a few more goals, they would be all over it. And the biggest thing for me was changing draws into wins, and we're starting to do that this season, as you can see, because we're doing really well. So yeah, can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's what I've always mentioned at the start. And we'll move on to Graham Potter, obviously, because there's massive talk about Graham Potter links to Arsenal and the sorts. And that's what really attracts me to him as a manager, is that as though you may not have scored goals last season, if you look at the amount of chances on average per game you were creating, all you needed was a striker to fill that role, and you would shoot up the table straight away. You would turn those draws into wins. And I kind of look at it as more pay, I think, this season, right? And like we mentioned these names, so I'll go up this.
Mopo, you are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat. I hope Brighton get relegated.
Sorry.
Still love it. I still love it.
You do know if you're not getting relegated, that's going viral.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. But so when I look at Morpay, he seems to be a different striker this season, scoring more goals than he was last season, and sort of filling in that role. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think a lot of the fans were thinking, yeah, we could do with a strike. We need a striker. I still think we could do with a striker. My thing is that I think we need players to play around him more than replace him. So if we were to go out and get a striker in the summer, or if we went and got one at Christmas time, you know, I would hope that it would essentially be a replacement for Welbeck, right? Like, so we would be playing him alongside Mopay and getting results that way, because that's generally how he played at Brentford.
What do you make of Welbeck, like, since he's been
the same as where he's been everywhere else. He's an extremely talented player that A, cannot stay healthy, and B, cannot finish chances often enough to be a good striker. If he could do either of those two things, he would never have played for Brighton. He'd still be at you or Man United.
So he's basically like a version of me. He can't shoot and can't stay healthy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a shame because he makes great runs. He's obviously still a very fast player, even as he's gotten older. And he works hard. But we had a chance just against Palace on Monday, and he was through 1-on-1 and missed it. We just saw it at the end of the game right then and there. Mopay scores those.
Yeah, and that's the difference. So it's a shame to see how it's gone, and I do feel if he had more of a chance, I think it's the sort of writing was on the wall when he left Man United to come to us. Is that Man United knew they were done with him because it wasn't working out. And it's like you say, with those sort of players, they've got the talent. It's just they haven't got the fitness to match it, and you need both to sort of succeed in the sport. So, yeah. So it's a shame with Danny Welbeck, but there you go. But I mean, how are you looking for this game in particular? Is this sort of like a fixture that you're sitting there thinking, I know Arsenal played well, but like Amex Stadium at home, yes, lovely, jubbly.
So it's a tough one, isn't it? Because you've obviously turned yourselves around massively since the beginning of the season, where you were a bit of a laughing stock, to be honest, weren't you?
Well, it's not massive. It was only Burnley, Norwich, and then Spurs. Come on.
Right, but 3 wins on the bounce. 3 wins on the bounce.
Yeah, 3 wins, 3 wins. I'm not complaining, but like you know, what I mean? I'm not
for me, it's last season we got beat by you twice. So for me, after looking at, when I look at, last year's results, anything better, any improvement upon the previous season is great. So albeit we are at home, I think I would take a draw right now if you offered me it, simply because whether those wins are huge or not, it doesn't matter in regards to their confidence levels, right? These players, especially these young players, your Smith Rowes, your Sakas, those young players are very dangerous, and if they're high on confidence, they're going to cause problems for anybody. So for me, I would take a point right now, but there is a lot about Arsenal that fits into our game plan, and I wouldn't be surprised if we were to win it.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's just like I just feel that Arsenal are very easy to be bullied, and though we might have party in the middle of the park, we can still get bullied very easily. Especially when you have Granit Xhaka next to him, but now he's out injured, so that might be a bonus. So, it's for me when I looked at it on Saturday and on Sunday, the performance was great. Like we still played well, not taking anything from how we played, but Spurs did make it very easy. They were not in that game whatsoever. Brighton Norwich gave us the toughest test at home, right? And Burnley gave us a bigger test away from home, and away from home against yourselves at the Amex Stadium, where we're gonna expect a very, very tough game, especially with the fans there as well. It's not gonna be as easy as what we had last weekend. It couldn't get any easier last weekend. It was against Spurs after all. So, but yeah, I expect. Do you know what? I'm actually with you. I at most maybe a draw. If we got a draw out of it, I wouldn't complain. I'll probably complain, obviously, because we should be getting more out of the squad we've got, and more out of our game plan. But I would see that it is a tough game. They are on form. It is away from home. So I would take those sort of things into account. So
yeah, I think
for the Tottenham fans, look, the score's still at the bottom. Oh no, it's 3-0 at that point.
I still have my big thing. I think hinges on Bissouma. He hurt his knee a week and a half ago and did not play against Palace.
Are you surprised he's still here?
Stunned. Yes. Absolutely stunned he's still an Albion player. The fact that Ben White left before Bissouma is hilarious. You don't need to tell. I think there was about 11 scouts in the stand from top teams. I think I read in the Athletic there was 11 to 12 scouts from the top teams. We're talking PSG, Real. all those
If you
teams.
heard from Edu's interview, apparently our most important position was not Bazuma, it was Ben White defender.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I worry for your back line against the team that we may put out. And I tell you why. We've got potentially going to be playing Tarek Lamptey out wide. He may well be back. And if Tarek Lamptey is back, that's going to be a problem.
Oh, God.
And Kukurea on that left wing back side is incredibly dangerous as well. I look at Tierney and Tomiyasu and think this is going to be a real tough.
Yeah,
they're incredibly. They played really well, I think, in the weekend, but they like to maraud forward. If they choose to do that,
like Tomiyasu, when he got home on Sunday, he pulled out his wallet, pulled out his keys, then looked there further deep down, and then pulled out some.
Yeah, right. I mean, if they try and push forward in the game against us, you know, we will overload those wide areas, regardless of whether Basuma is there or not, and that I think is going to be where chances will come from for us. However, if Basuma is hurt and can't play, I think we're in big. I think at that point, if Basuma is not fit, I think we'll lose that game simply because we'll be dominated in the center of the park.
Yeah, I think that's the major key. I think that's the key bar is just like Partey, and it's going to be Partey and Lokonga. So it'll be Partey and Lokonga against Basuma, with Basuma in there. It's going to be, that is probably going to be one of the key battles to look at. And but again, it's like you said with the wide areas, it's like you saw on the weekend. Once they managed to get the overlap on us, then you saw a couple of chances created by Tottenham, and that wasn't until like obviously the second half, and we sort of stepped off the gas by that point, and we also started getting tired legs. And I think if we had, I said already, and if you check some of our fan cams, we said already, if we made our substitutions earlier, we would never conceded. We would never conceded in that game. We would have probably gone on and scored 4 or 5 because they were just not in that game whatsoever. It was probably one of the easiest London derbies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
like, not even joking. You could go back to the 2004 where we drew 2-2, and that was more of a fight than it was like. And they had a team that finished 14th.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. It's just they were not in it, non-existent, and like maybe it's the Conference League. Maybe having the word conference next to their name is like doing something on there. But like I say to all Tottenham fans, like you say to us. No, he's only 6 games in. Trust the process. Right? Sorry. But yeah, so I mean, how obviously moving on with obviously with Spurs, obviously a lot of fans, we were ending off there saying they want Nuno out, they want Potter in. Obviously, Arsenal now sitting there, and it looks like it's going to be like a straight fight between the two, if not London clubs, like the way it's going at the minute, to try and get Potter in as a manager. Now, what would you think? Obviously, you were wanting to go, clearly, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, but what would you say? Who would if he was to go? Which better club would he be going to? Like, what would be the better option for him?
If I'm honest, I don't think either.
Tottenham are chucking you out.
I don't think either club is the right way for Graham to go to achieve greatness, and he will be great. Make no mistake about that. He will be one of, if not the greatest English managers to ever. I mean,
you're doing that with a Brighton side. Come on.
He is. I won't be surprised if he manages.
But
no, exactly. I mean, he did it in Sweden. He got Swansea way above where they were.
He beat us at the Emirates with in Sweden.
Östersund. Yeah, he is still very young, but he's clearly he is everything that England wanted Eddie Howe to be, but he is actually what they wanted. He's going to be England manager eventually, if he doesn't get too big And I don't think going to Arsenal or Spurs is the right move for Graham. I think, and I'll tell you why. He needs to believe in a project, and he needs to. Right now, he has a chairman who is a fan of the team and is stood in the stands with the fans, as well as a billionaire. Like, he's a billionaire, and his family has been within the club for generations. He has the Dan Ashworth, the guy who is responsible for all of the youth that's come through the England setup right now. He is now one of our directors. And he's also got a staff around him that he picked out and wanted to have around him. He's being encouraged, no matter what awful form we went through last year or the year before, nobody wanted, you know what I mean? Like, he was under no pressure. Tony Bloom told him he was going nowhere. Going to a Spurs or an Arsenal would be a massive risk for him, because he would be asked to do this project all over again with a much less trustworthy ownership and group behind him. And not only that, but he doesn't get the say, right? He doesn't get the choice in terms of those above him. So your Dan Ashworth, your Tony Blooms, they're not gonna, they listen to Graham. Like, they work alongside him. Is Edu going to do that? No, I don't think so. Is Levy going to give a shit? Can I swear? I'm sorry. Is he going to give a toss? Like, what Graham thinks? No, he's going to tell him, here's the players you have, and make it work.
I think, to be fair, I would say, don't mind for anyone's trying to burn me on a stake here as an Arsenal fan. I don't like Edu. I don't know what he said about the club. Don't like saying we don't have a target. Don't like saying all this crap. But he does actually sit with Arteta and try and work out what they want, like what the players they want. So in terms of transfers, I do think he would sit down with Graham Potter and identify what he wants and what they want to move forward with. So I do see him doing that. I don't see Kroenke's doing it. Don't get me wrong. Kroenke will just stay. Where's West? That way somewhere, like if you know what I mean, and then but in terms of Edu, I do think he would actually work with the manager in that sense, and more than what Levy would do.
I don't think he's going to either of them. Honest to God, that's my bold. That's my prediction. You can stick that out there.
You think he's going where? Do you think he'd be wanting to go in England's squad?
I don't know where he will end up after us, because he will eventually obviously move on sooner than later if he continues with this form. He isn't going to Arsenal or Spurs. I'm telling you, he's not going to go there. It's just not a job that I don't think he would take. He is more likely to go to an Everton, maybe, somewhere where there's less pressure from the fans. I think
it's going to Tottenham. Trust the process. Trust the process. Sorry, carry on. I just can't stick that in.
No, I won't be at all surprised. Craig in the chat said Leicester after Brighton. That wouldn't shock me. A Leicester, an Everton, a team where the fans aren't going to be as toxic as a Spurs team or an Arsenal team. Or reactive. Leicester are obviously a superbly well-run club.
I think the way Arsenal fans are reactive is because there's Arsenal fans, like probably myself, that see the standards of our club and see that with Arteta, we don't accept that as our level. Like, that's not our standards. We should be training managers. We should be getting the top managers. We should be aiming towards the top. We should be getting the best. We shouldn't be getting.
So would you say Graham is that then?
I would say he's up that level at the minute. He's playing. He's managing at that level at the minute. He's managed to do what with Brighton, what a lot of managers can't do with. I mean, you give Arteta Brighton's team, you get you relegated.
He probably.
Look what he's doing. I mean, look what he's doing with Arsenal. I mean, he can't even get them in Europe with that squad, right? It's a Europa League squad at least. And if you can't do that with that squad, or can barely beat Norwich with it, if you had a Brighton squad, you get relegated. honest to God, you get relegated. Simples. Right? The guy can't even create you any chances. So to be able to achieve the amount of chances you create in a side that, yes, you have the standouts like Basuma, Dunk, Lamptey, but not nearly having quality all over the pitch like sort of an Arsenal would do, then of course, like you're gonna rate him highly as a manager, and I do rate him highly as a manager. That's why I wouldn't mind him being an Arsenal manager. I'm not expecting us to get a Conte because we're not a European side. Like that would be a dream thing. That'd be an ambitious thing. Because we're not ambitious, don't see it as that. That's probably why I'd say Graham Potter's more not really ambitious target, but more the medium level target is like something that we could get. So, but again, it's whether we have the ambition to do so. That's the problem with Arsenal.
And it's whether you want to pay up, right? Like he's still got 4 years left on his contract. Like, are they really going to pay £15 million for a manager? Like, is that really going to be a risk that either of those teams want to make when they could go ahead and get Conte on a 2-year deal with 15 million signing on, and they've just got to play it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing, because that 15 million that Brighton are asking for a manager, like, you know, that's not including that's not including his contract. That's not including his bonuses. That's not including his team he wants to bring in. That's not going to include any of the money you have to spend to lay off who you've got already. And I know Arsenal have loads of money, but that extra 15 million quid, you've already spent a crap ton of money this summer. Like, I'm just saying, that's my bigger reason more than anything else. I think it's going to be, I would be stunned if either of you went in for him with the money we're asking for currently.
To be honest, Craig, I've always been a Potter in. I've always rated Potter as a manager just by what he does with Brighton. Right? They've simply seen him when he's coming to Brighton. I'm not really bothered looking at his record, what he's done with that team, and the way he plays those games, and also the way he plays against us. And for me, like, that it shows to me that he is capable enough of being able to take that attacking Arsenal side with his attacking philosophy and be able to do wonders. I mean, you give him the strike force of Brighton, he managed to do what he's doing right now. You give him the strike force of an Arsenal with an Aubameyang, Lacazette, a Martinelli, a Saka in there. Mate, I'd scared to think what he could do with it. Right, I'm scared to think what he could do with it, and actually would push us maybe even higher than probably what is expected from that squad. And that's what you should be getting. You should be getting managers that should at least meet the minimal target from that squad, but trying to push beyond the highest targets.
Yeah,
to go this, and that's what he seems to be doing. So, West Ham 1-0 up. Declan Rice. Well, there you go. 4 likes. Keep smashing the like button as usual. Make sure to check out Together BHA as well. And just gonna sort of if you were gonna pick one sort of area where you feel that you could really hurt us, despite even if you have Basuma or not, where would you think it would be?
The flanks. Easy. Doesn't matter which one, left or right. We have
Even with Tomiyasu there?
Yes. Cucurella we signed him from Getafe in La Liga.
And by the way, Tottenham, thanks for Tomiyasu.
He is left wing back for us. He is unbelievable. When you see him this weekend, you're going to think, oh, shit. Like, he was not joking. He is a very talented player. And he will have a real fun time down the right-hand side against anyone. He's played 3 games down there so far, and he's been he's won every single individual battle. I think that on the other side, regardless of who it is that plays on that right-hand side, whether it is Lamptey or Veltman has to play there because of injuries, I think that they're always going to be a good spot. Graham Potter, his entire philosophy and his entire just game in general relies on the wingbacks so much to provide everything, both defensively and offensively. And not a lot of team. The only team this year that has game planned against our wingbacks effectively was Everton, and they beat us. Were like worthily so. They were much better. And I think if Lamptey is fit and good to go, he will start. I think down the flanks we're just going to be a problem. I think that we cause a problem for everybody out wide.
Will we risk starting Lamptey?
Craig, it's a good question, Craig, and I'm really not sure, mate. He was on the bench against Palace, and we said on the podcast, the Together BHA podcast on Monday, probably a good, even if he was fully fit, would you want to start a player that's been out for almost a year against our rivals at their place with some feisty challenges going in? Probably not, right? No. Like, you're probably not going to, even if he's fully fit and buzzing on the bench, like, leave him on the bench, because if you're playing a game against Arsenal where there isn't that same intensity and that same nastiness, and Arsenal are not a team known to be kind of physical and rough, especially if Xhaka's out, it's a game that you would expect to see more chance of seeing Lamptey, unless Graham wants to turn around and be very safe and leave him until after the international break and give him another 2 weeks. I don't know, but I have full faith in Veltman regardless. The pass he played for the goal for Mope was just sublime. He's been a superb signing, so I'm not worried about whether Lamptey starts or not. It would be a huge boost, but Veltman is also an incredibly good player.
You're welcome. It's about time your fan base actually appreciate it playing it. That's all right, mate. It said, mate, do you appreciate Dyer? Just thought I'd ask. Did you appreciate him getting spun? Sorry. Danny, you could fight. It's just not going to work.
I did see a comment talking about Lallana.
Yes. You did mention about Lallana. Yes, go on.
He has had a bit of a change in his asks to do this year. He was asked to do a lot last year, very box to box. He has been asked to be more of a kind of, for the American listeners out there, more of a quarterback role. He's been asked to sit back a little bit, not stress himself out too much, and just dictate the play as and when he can alongside Bissouma. And he's played really well so far, and he's still fit. This is his 7th game, potentially, and he's stayed fit. Adam Lallana has stayed fit for 7 games. That means it's working. So
that needs a medal in itself.
Exactly. If Bissouma is out, then that provides a problem, because Pascal Gross and Lallana in the middle were totally outpowered this weekend against Palace. That's where my worry is. The common sense approach for me would to play Jakob Moder in there. If
you play, I know this for a fact. You play Pascal and Lallana in that midfield with Partey and the Congo, you are going to get murdered.
Exactly. We were against Palace.
Unless Arteta does something stupid, which I know he's very, very easy to do. I know these other fans love to forgive him and everything because it's one game against Spurs, right? But he's very, very easy to do something very stupid. But unless if he does the normal 4-2-3-1 with Lokonga and Partey in there, that midfield of yours will be screwed.
Yep, and it was against Palace. Gallagher and Milojevic or whatever his name is, and MacArthur dominated that midfield. And you put Bissouma in that midfield, and we dominate them. But with that midfield 3, and Partey and Lokonga are better than Palace's midfield. So I agree with you. And I would be stunned if Graham didn't accommodate for that. He's a great manager, right? I could talk about him all day. I love him. I don't see there being a possibility of Graham allowing that same midfield to go out there again if Basuma isn't fit and risk it. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I don't like risking players unless they're 100% me. Is Graham Potter that sort of manager? Again, I'll go back to Graham Potter. Like, is he those sort of managers who would risk anyone to just for one particular game, or would he rather rest them until they're fully fit?
He's definitely the latter. He will rest. I mean, look at Tarek Lamptey. Like, he has had him playing games behind closed doors for about a month and a half, and he still hasn't played him yet. Like, he is super cautious. Probably helps that we've started so well. Like, I suspect if we were sat on 2 points, he may well have brought him back a little bit sooner.
Yeah, it might have been a bit more under pressure. I mean, because I remember, with Partey, the reason Partey had a crap season last season is because every time Arteta started him, he was always injured. He started him against Tottenham, injured him a month further, banged him back too early, injured him again, brought him back too early, injured him again. Right? And the guy just never got a break. And he had a couple of injuries, but not hardly any when he went to Atletico. But when he came here, it was like injury after injury after injury, all because he kept coming back too early. So that's
why I'm not sure. That's why I'm not sure if Basuma will start. If he is not 90%, he won't play him. He'll rest him.
Yeah.
He'll give him because he'll know that 2 weeks from now he'll be at 110%. Like, he'll be good to go. He'll be banging it. And we play Norwich next after the break. So if he's going to look at these 2 games and think we can take 3 points away at Carrow Road with Basuma playing.
Oh, yeah, and to be also, you could probably do it without Basuma playing. That's sad. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if Norwich like beat at Carrow Road.
I mean, they haven't. I'm worried because they're eventually going to win a game, and like no team wants to be that team that loses to them.
Yeah.
And like, I've been hoping they would get something between the start of the season and now, and like our numbers coming up soon. You're like, please not us, please not us, please not us. Like, don't let us be the team that give them.
It's like the cup in the draw, isn't it? It's like the draw in the FA Cup. You got all the big boys left, and you got two small teams left. You're like, don't be a big team, just pick a small team.
Yeah, like,
and then when you pick a big team, it's like, fucking you, I hate you.
Yeah, and I mean, Norwich, I'm not sure who they play this weekend, but they play Burnley away. I mean, I can't see them getting anything at Burnley. So
Jesus Christ, they'll quite get a draw probably. But then, to be fair, Burnley's done a bit of a madness and scored goals as well. So you don't know. West Ham 1-0 up to hit the post twice and dealing with Rapid's attacks. When we scored, Rapid's fans kicked off, police on all tours. Jesus, right? Like, at least we didn't have to have a police escort out of the Emirates Stadium after our game, right? Because half the Tottenham fans were already gone. By half time. I couldn't believe it. 35 minutes just seemed like that. Bye. Send me a postcard. Oh, actually, don't. You're going back to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Don't me send me a postcard. Well, at least this time they've got a stadium to go home to. Like, we don't have to call have to call like the Samaritans or anything like that. You know what I mean? Just call them up for their safety. On the East End, it's a typical night out in South London. That is what it is. How do you think I've got these scars, Tony? So I'm gonna move on to score predictions now. And how would you say the game will go and your final score prediction will be?
It's so dependent on Basuma for me. So let's be positive and assume he starts.
Just assume everyone's fit and they start.
I think we cancel each other out in the middle of the park because Basuma is that good. I think he and Partey, like for like, just cancel each other out. I think that we...
Sorry, I just got interrupted. Danny, you weren't saying that before the game. Sacrifice defeat. Get out of here.
No, I think the middle of the park will cancel itself out. I think Basuma and Party will cancel themselves out. In terms of their performances, they do the same job, and they both do it really well. So I would see them both canceling each other out and kind of being a bit of a stalemate in the middle there. I can see our flanks causing you a whole bunch of problems. And if I had to make a prediction, at some point in time, one of your fullbacks is going to make a mistake in terms of a foul or putting it out for a corner, and we will score from a set piece and win 1-0. It won't be pretty. It won't be sexy. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if this time next week we're talking about Shane Duffy scoring a header from a free kick or a set piece in a dangerous area that was given away because Kukurea.
Did you replace Ben White in all this?
You what?
Did you replace Ben White in all this, or did you just not bother?
No, we didn't bother. We brought back Shane Duffy and played him instead.
We haven't replaced Ben. You haven't replaced Ben White. That just says it all. We spent £50 million on a defender. They haven't replaced.
I'll be honest with you. I liked Ben. I thought he was a great player for what he was asked to do in that back three of the Albion. We have Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster, who are both very good in the air. And strong defenders, and Ben White is that ball playing slick centre half, and those three together could work really well because you had a big mix of styles, right? And you could have one rely on the other. Likewise, now with our back three, it's the same way. We have Veltman, who is a great ball player, Dunk, who's a great ball player, and Shane Duffy, who isn't. So Dunk and Veltman can then, they can back up Duffy when he's struggling and vice versa. For me, Ben White's biggest problem was the fact that he is just so poor in the air and at set pieces. And against the teams that, when Albion play teams, they knew that, especially when we had Matty Ryan in goal. So we had like a 5'10" goalkeeper and Ben White who couldn't jump at the back. Like, it was just catastrophe. We didn't need to replace him because we have about 8 centre halves on the books that are all very good. Like, we've had to loan out like 6 different centre backs across Europe just to try and get them game time. So we're putting together a bit of a conveyor belt, like Saints. Like Saints put forward like player after player after player. We're starting to do the same thing. I was perfectly happy with the 50 million in the bank, especially with keeping Basuma. There's obviously
when we spent 50 million on White, I was just like that. I was just like, well, they went Basuma.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. To me,
and the guy is so sus. I see it, even the Spurs game. I'm sitting there like that. Ben White, what are you doing? Right? I was just like, do me a favor, don't play no more. Just sit there in the corner while we do the proper job. We'll be fine with 10. Like, you just sit there in the corner and play with your toys. Right. But then I did like one thing in the end. The only thing white in North London is Ben White. So
I will say, like, and I think this is something that doesn't get covered enough outside of Brighton. And Ben White was a very good centre half last year. He got called up to the Euros for a reason. He was a good centre back. We were one of the best. I mean, I think in the year of 2021, we were second in the league in terms of like defensive, like chances against, goals conceded, all that shit. Like, we were incredibly good at the second half of last season, and Ben White was definitely a part of that. What people outside of Brighton don't realize is that Shane Duffy has now came along and became a superb centre half again overnight when he had the worst season of his life at Celtic. Adam Webster came in from Bristol City for a pretty high fee and really struggled, but he found his feet over time, and now he's a top-class centre-half. Joel Veltman came from Ajax for £900,000, and Ajax were happy to see him go. Look at that pass he played the other day. He has grown and flourished and been a superb central defender and right wing back for us. There is one constant in all of that no one ever seems to mention, and that is Lewis Dunk. He makes every single centre half around him play.
He's so underrated.
He makes every other centre half play at 150% of their ability. He is that good. To me, he is that good. And when he leads that line, he turns every other central defender around him into a better player. And White was a benefactor of that. So then when he comes into your squad, no disrespect to your central defenders, but they don't have that same influence and that same, you know what I mean? He's coming into a team that are very similar to him as a person, and they're not a leader and a hometown boy and a very good established central defender like Donkey is.
They're not like a Tony Adams sort of player where they know the Arsenal inside out. He's Mr. Arsenal, basically.
And I obviously wouldn't say Donkey is as good as Adams, but he is Brighton's version of.
Before until Vieira left, he used to have like captains of Arsenal. He used to be like the Mr. Arsenal. They embodied the club. The club oozed out of their veins. And we don't get that. Aubameyang is Mr. Arsenal. No. I think Tierney. I think Tierney might be just the way he conducts himself as a player, but we don't have that anymore. Like maybe Saka, because he comes from, or Emil Smith Rowe, maybe grow to be sort of that leader. The way they conduct themselves on the pitch and the way they also embody the club of coming from Hale End and everywhere. But yeah.
We're very lucky to have Donkey. And obviously he's going to be staying at this point. You know, he's just about past his prime in terms of an age that people want to sign a central defender for.
Yeah.
I don't think he's past his prime performance-wise. I think he's in it. But in terms of signing a defender, you know, he's 30 next year. Like, nobody wants to sign a 30-year-old defender when they can sign a 25-year-old one. So I think he's probably going to be a one-club man, and we don't get many of those anymore. And it shows. It shows with the performances of everyone around him.
Yeah, absolutely. My score prediction in the end, it's not really easy. We're gonna have to score 2 goals because I know you're gonna score 1. It's that's just me. You know what I mean? I would say 2-1, and we score a winner. Which will just, no, we won't score a winner. We'll have to go 2-0 up. If we don't go 2-0 up, we'll either draw the game or lose it. Like, simple as that. That's how I see it. And I just think the reason we'll go 2-0 up is because of the confidence we've gotten from the Spurs game, which should transfer into this game.
Yeah, but I would not be at all surprised if you won it 2-1. Not at all. This is one of those games where, I go into looking at the fixture list ahead. You know, we've got Norwich next. We've got Man City after that. We've got Liverpool after that. We've got Newcastle after that. I look at those and I think we should beat Norwich. We're going to lose to City and Liverpool, and we should beat Newcastle. I look at the Arsenal game and I think, throw a dart at a dartboard. Like, I don't know. I really don't. Like, it's one of those ones where
see where you find a dart and where it aims at.
Yeah, like it's so tough to call. If you tell me that we win, lose, or draw it, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Big up Carl, we're on the chat. Big up everyone in the chat, and big up everyone that's watched. We're gonna call it evening there. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Where can they find you, mate?
Yeah, at Together BHA, just about everywhere. So Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff. Together BHA is where you would want to see us, and we will be doing our post Arsenal podcast on Sunday probably. So if anybody wants to tune into that,
wicked. No worries, go check that out as well. Make sure to smash the like button here as well. Smash the subscribe button as well. And we're back. I don't think we'll be back tomorrow, actually. We won't be back tomorrow. There won't be anything to tomorrow. But Saturday we've got the watch along, so we should be doing a watch along, and then hopefully we will be doing like not maybe loads of maybe not the amount of fan cams we did for the Spurs game, but a few. And yeah, we'll do a few of those, and then we've got the player rating show on Sunday, so it just keeps things ticking over. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Cheers, mate.